Hi guys, and welcome back again to another one of my videos. This one's going to be a little bit different. I won't be channeling. I will be speaking about past lives and karma and how to release karma and release trauma and my experience with it and my story in the last year or so and what has happened to me, how I dealt with it, and how I was able to get out of it and really be where I am now. So as I always say, this is my experience. Take it or leave it. If it resonates, I'm really happy. If it doesn't, that's also okay. It's my experience. I'm really just here to tell my story, and if it can even help one person or bring any clarity to anyone, then that really is enough to make me happy, you know. I'm choosing to speak about what happened to me and to, in a way, not in a way, to be vulnerable, because this isn't how I usually would like to portray myself. It's very out of my comfort zone, but vulnerability is very important. It's a very important part of our humanity and, you know, of us being human. And I kind of want to share a little bit of that with you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you for holding space for me and for listening without judgment. So yeah. So I was actually in a very abusive domestic relationship very recently, and there was a lot of violence and aggression involved, a lot of fear for my safety, fear for my baby. I was pregnant at the time. So for the whole of the beginning of my pregnancy until my 5th month of pregnancy, I was stuck in this situation. It was very scary. I won't focus too much on it, so I'm not going to say too much of the details for personal reasons, but I do have to touch on it because of how I am going to explain how I released the karma and the trauma that I went through. So it's very relevant for me to speak about it. And I do want to open up about it because I'm not there anymore. I got out of it. I'm in a really beautiful place now. And it is possible. There's a lot of women in this country, but everywhere in the world, that feel like there's no way out and are stuck in relationships with manipulative, narcissistic men who are themselves, have gone through trauma and then just project it and take it out. And it's not an excuse or anything, but so if this does resonate with you, then I want you to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Your angels are listening. Your spirit guides are behind you, and ask them for help. They will help you. You need to also help yourself, but there is help out there that will come to you if you ask for it. So I was fortunate enough to be able to get out of this this very dangerous and scary situation about 5 months into my pregnancy, and I actually had to get the authorities involved because I feared for my life, for my baby's life, for my safety. And I need to say something, I never think I would be saying this, but the system, I live in South Africa, and the system this time really helped me. It worked, it was quick, it was efficient, it really actually supported me. The system really helped me as a single pregnant woman. I felt like the system put the boundaries in place that I physically wasn't able to put. And it's still holding them there. So I'm very grateful for that. As I said, this is my experience. I know a lot of people aren't happy with how things are run, but this is just what happened to me and how I was blessed enough to be able to have that kind of support as well. This wasn't a situation that lasted very long for me. It was only a few months. But the reason being, and people are stuck in these situations for years. The reason being is that as soon as the situation, relationship I was in started getting as I started, I mean, I never considered myself to be someone who could be easily manipulated. And as I started seeing that happening, I actually started to set my boundaries and put my boundaries in place and oppose and confront. As soon as I started doing that, that's when the violence came in, and that's when the very intense. I mean, abuse can be emotional. It can be in many different ways. But when I actually started standing up to myself, that's when violence and aggression came in. When I started fearing for my life, for my safety, for my baby. Like, it wasn't really even about me anymore. It was I was navigating the soul into this reality, and the priorities had to lie there. So having said that, that's just a little preface. Having said that, this is not to shift blame, but I do firmly believe that there were a lot of entities around me at the time and working through this person. These entities, so these lower vibrational frequency beings and entities, they're not just going to latch onto anyone for a random reason. This situation where I was in, this person, the portals were being opened. These entities can latch onto you through anger, through drug use, through alcohol, spirits. It's called spirits for a reason. And I was seeing these things working through, trying to get to me. I actually had to put my work on hold for a few months because I wasn't in the condition and able to work for the situation I was going through. And if I'm not 100%, I'm not going to work on anyone. Like that's so there's no way I'm going to offer my services if I'm not 100% in my power and doing what it is that I need to do. So that was a very big thing that I want to warn people out there about. These entities are real. They work through people. People don't realize. And I'm not saying like you have a fight and you get angry, the entity is going to come through and possess you. No, that's not what I'm saying. It's very subtle. Well, sometimes not so subtle, but we are in the middle of a spiritual war right now here on Earth. So I really, really believe that a lot of this happened to stop me from doing my work, to stop me from putting out my light language, my channel. And I was still working at home, so I was still doing what I could in the situation. I was always very energetically shielded, protected, and grounded. But when you are sharing space with someone who isn't, obviously it's going to affect you. So nothing touched me because also of, I think, the purity of the being that I was carrying within me, the pregnancy, the purity that I had in me. So in that aspect, I was always very safe and protected, but the situation around me was not. So I couldn't physically remove myself from it. Also because we went through a period of lockdown, like every other country in the world. So yeah, and then as soon as I was removed from that and from the direct involvement with this person, then everything came even more clearly. I was always very lucid, very clear. Like I knew what was going on in a way, but also at the same time, I was doubting myself, because that's what happens when you get involved with a manipulative person, a narcissist, someone who even indirectly makes you think you're not really worth anything. Your job, your life, who you are, it's just everything's shit, So yeah, as soon as I got out of this situation, that's when the real work started. That's when really the universe was like, okay, well done. You've been listening again. Finally, you weren't listening the last few months. Now you've been listening. Now we're going to send you everything that you need to clear energetically, karmically, galactically, before this baby comes into this earth. So in the beginning, firstly, what I first had to do was I had to clear the present karma from this lifetime. A lot of it I had worked on already, but obviously the most recent one. So every day I would send love to myself back, to the situation, to this person. I eventually managed to forgive without forgetting, keeping my boundaries in place, and those are going to stay in place. But I was able to forgive myself, forgive the person, forgive the situation, and really have compassion towards myself and towards everything that happened. So that was the first step. As soon as that sort of healed, then the like really intense downloads started happening. So bear in mind that throughout this, my channel's always open, so I will always be receiving messages in and out. I'll choose when to tune in and when to tune out and whatnot. This was very intense. This was the universe. It was like, this shit needs to be sorted before this baby comes. We don't care if you want to sleep, if you want to eat, if you want to rest. You're going to go through these past lives. You're going to see what it is. You're going to understand why you behaved like this, where it came from, what happened, why the situation was presented to you in the way it was, what you had to learn from it. And not even this lesson, other lessons as well. It all started like, it was like I don't know how to explain, like when you open a box, like Pandora's box, everything just poured onto me, visually, physically. I was clearing my past lives and timelines, and also not only past lives in this dimension, in this reality, but in other realities as well. So I was clearing them at the speed of light. Time wasn't even like time anymore. Everything was so sped up in my day-to-day life, and it was also, the day was slowed down so that I could have more time in the astral realm and in the other dimensions to clear these timelines. So everything was exponentially sped up. It was quick. So this is just the past lives stuff that I had to clear. So I cleared what I had to, and what came through, I released, the fear, the anger. There was a lot of crying involved, a lot of really understanding. Like, I would have these visions of these past lives, and then I would understand, and just by gaining knowledge of it, it would heal itself. So that was very beautiful for me to go through. But it literally felt like I was living, 10 to 15 to 20 different lives a day, because of the amount of lessons I was going through. And then once that subsided a little bit, I started getting galactic karma, and galactic past lives, galactic clearing, galactic karma, galactic stuff that I had to clear and deal with and see. So I'd always known that I had past lives in Lemuria and in Atlantis, in both, and at different times, and different ones. I had many in there, but the one that mainly had always been coming through to me was I was present in Lemuria during the Holocaust, when the machines took over, and everyone was killed, and there was this hectic war. If you go check my Instagram page, I do have a few depictions of it. I did draw it a few times, and so that was the one that came through very intensely, which I had already seen. And then I actually had a very beautiful past life in Atlantis. I was a keeper of a temple, basically, and I would work with crystals and crystal energy and very, very advanced machinery. If you do have a look again on my Instagram and at my art, you will see a lot of engineered machinery, if it makes sense. And it was very beautiful. It's a very different concept from what we're used to, but I actually used to open these energetic portals, and I would transfer like ships or planets or constellations from one place to the other with my technology, with my machinery. So I would make these machines and I would operate them, and I would move these galaxies, these beings, these ships, these planets, these universes also. I would move all this stuff around where it needed to go and whatnot. So so that's why now also this is what I depict, and the grid work and the work that I do also is very relevant to then. It made me really understand more of my purpose and my role here in this lifetime. So yeah, and then getting back to the Holocaust, when the Holocaust happened, a lot of souls chose to leave. So the souls that were here had come from Pleiades and from Lyra. They had moved here after the Galactic Wars, the Orion Wars and everything. So, they'd made this civilization of light here on the planet. And after this Holocaust, a lot of souls decided to leave. I decided to stay. So I actually decided to stay on this planet and keep on reincarnating, learning lessons to come to be here now and to be of help and to raise the frequency and to go back to rebuilding this beautiful civilization of light of the fifth dimension that was present at the time. So that was very illuminating for me to see. It was just a other confirmation that my role was that. So all of these memories started coming back, and then the last 4 to 5 months of my pregnancy, this was all I was working again, but this was at the same time what I was doing, and I still work like that, if it makes sense, but it's not on me anymore. Now I work more on obviously clients, and for the collective I clear karma and timelines and energy and residual stuff for the collective. And it was very empowering for me to go through everything that I went through. And when I brought the beautiful soul of my daughter into this life and into this dimension, I didn't know if I had done a good job of clearing, if I'd done enough, if she was gonna have any repercussions on everything that I went through, if she was gonna have any, I don't know, stress or traumas from me. And she didn't. She is the most beautiful chilled baby I've ever seen. Doesn't even cry much. She'll literally wait patiently for me to feed her. I don't know how to explain. None of everything that I went through affected her. And when I went in and asked her higher self and my higher self, and I saw the purity of her soul, and it was like a clean slate. That's how I managed to, obviously I didn't clear everything. I did what I could at the time to the best of my ability. I'm still doing, we live every day, so there's always stuff to clear, and we humans, so we're living a human experience, and there's a lot coming every day that still needs to be cleared. I just wanted to share that with you guys and tell you that it is possible. We are really at a pivotal point in time for the earth, for humanity. And thank you for holding space and for listening. And I would really appreciate any feedback. If you want to go see my art and what it is that I draw, I will post the link here to my Instagram and to my website as well. If you get called to collaborate with me and to work with me, just check out my website. Thank you, and I love you, and have a beautiful rest of the day.